All right, welcome everyone to my design album. So I'm going to start up our screen share. And hopefully everybody now is seeing my screen. And this is great because I have a brand new computer and none of my stuff is sorted. It's all just kind of, I forgot to back up my design album before getting a new computer, which I'm going to show you guys how to do that so that way you won't be like me and lose all of your progress. The first thing we're going to go over is how to set preferences in my design album. So if you have a screen that looks like this and you're following along, feel free to follow along. If you're not, feel free to watch this later and always follow along then. So under our tool button, there is a couple features that I wanted to go over. The first one is our watch folders. So I'm going to click watch folders here. And hopefully this shows you on the screen the watch folders here. So watch folders means that when you download a new file or you take a CD and you put it onto your computer and you put it somewhere, it's going to automatically populate it into my design album if it is a watched folder. That means that design album is, you know, big brothering your folders and making sure that any new embroidery files get put into the program. So I'm going to scroll down and show you guys some of the things I usually have checked off. I usually have downloads because a lot of times if I download a design, it automatically seems to go there. I'm going to kind of minimize some of these. So I have a big folder here called design files, so I'm going to check that off. So pretty much you just want to go through and click anything that you put files in. I used to put them in my documents folder, but I decided to have a desktop folder with design files instead because I do use them quite frequently. So pretty much you're just going to click, if you click, let's say, downloads, or let's say here, Chelsea's custom designs, I have that clicked. If I hit the plus button, I don't need to click all of these little design folders underneath it. I only need to click the main folder here. It'll watch for everything below it. And so on. So that is your watch folders. Does anyone have any questions on how the watch folders work?
Chelsea,
yes.
Is it okay to use an external drive?
Yes. However, if you don't have it plugged into your computer, the program will not sense it, of course, so it won't show you anything if it's not plugged in.
How did you get to watch folder? It came up initially, but
tools and watch folders.
Oh, okay, thank you.
So once you click off those watch folders, you may notice the bottom left-hand side of your screen here, where it says all, it's going to list all of your designs there. And the next thing I'm going to show you guys is how to set different types of files. We're going to hit tools again and hit preferences. Your general options are where if you, let's say, have FTCU, the Floriani Total Control U, and you want it to open with that, if you double click on a file, you can browse and actually set that here. But the input formats is what I want to talk about. I have everything checked off at the moment, like almost everything, literally. However, let's say I only want to see my PES files because that's what file format I use. I can click OK, and it's only going to show me now PES files. And that's nice because then you don't have, 50 different versions of the same design that it's showing you, because it's showing you the Jeff, the XXX, the Husk, all those other file types. The other way you can use this same option, I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to go back into my input format, and instead of PES, I'm going to click all of these and unclick WAF and PES, which are ones I use. I'm just going to remove the ones that I actually want to keep. The reason why is now I can actually remove those files that are not my machine file type.
Would you do that again? I didn't get that.
So I went into tools and preferences, input formats. I clicked design files to click everything, but unclicked PES and WAF because I only have Brother and Baby Lock machines. And I keep the WAF because that's my working files for Floriani. So if I was designing something in Floriani Total Control U, I want to keep the WAF. But this now, if I deleted anything, it's going to delete it off my computer, but it's going to remove all these other file types.
Where are you deleting it?
I'm going to show you. So if I wanted to do this and remove things I don't need, and I can click on this just to double check, this is an SVG file for a swirl design, which is just weird. I can't cut that out or do anything with that. So I'm just gonna hit delete right on my keyboard, and it's not gonna listen to me. So I'm gonna right click. Oh, or we could just not let me. Oh, you know why? Because I gotta drag it into the recycling bin, duh. Wah. So I can take this design and drag it into the recycling bin.
So you have to do that with every one of them that
No. So I'm gonna move my screen here. There we go. So I'm gonna left click on this one, and I'm gonna hit Shift and click a bunch of them. Left click and drag right down into my recycling bin. And my computer is just taking apparently forever to actually catch up. As you can see, it's still showing the same thing. But it will have removed those and put them into the recycling bin. And then what I can do is I can right click. Oh, can I empty this? You're not gonna let me. I can actually go through my recycling bin this way. And these are all files that are not for my machine type. Right click and hit delete files from disk. And these will remove them right from the computer.
But not from your files, or does it do it from your
No,
files
it
too?
does. It actually completely removes them from your computer files and everything. So the reason why I like to do this is many times, I open up a design and it gives me, the Big Anita Good Design VIP, for an example. When you download that, it gives you everything. You have, and it's really hard just to remove the folders that say, SEW, or the files that you don't need, because it says 8-inch blocks, heart blocks, and you keep on going through the folders, and it's just really cumbersome to delete all the ones you don't need. So I use this program to do it, so that way I don't have a ton of useless files on my computer, because these do take up a lot. If you think about every design you have having 10 different file types, and I can just go through. And again, if you delete something in this program, it will permanently delete it off of your disk.
Right.
I'm confused what you're saying. On that box that you just showed us, it said select format to view. And I selected WAF and PES. But you're saying you did not check those off and your WAF and PES come up?
No. So I went through and I made sure to check everything but WAF and PES. These are unchecked, so that way I won't accidentally delete them. And that way I can remove unneeded files and kind of clean some stuff.
She removed everything but.
Yeah. So that way, it's showing me all the files that I'm not going to need. So this is just one way to clean up your computer. And the whole point of this program is to clean your computer and organize your files. So that way you don't have embroidery files all over the place. It's also really nice to see your files. For an example, I can go into my folders here and go into, let's say, design files. And I can scroll down to OESD, which is in alphabetical order, which is why I can't find it. There it is. And let's say, these are the new dogs that I just downloaded, and I'm looking for a certain dog, or maybe laundry day, or I want to see what these actually, wow, those are actually really funny. I can see what's in these folders, where normally I would look at these and it would say, 51235-01.art. That tells me nothing about what this design is. So this allows you to see it.
Chelsea,
Yes.
when you're talking about the recycle bin, let's say you accidentally duplicated something and you wanted to get rid of one of them, and you bring it into the recycle bin. If you clear that, it won't delete it in the other spot, right?
So if you are just deleting the duplicate, then it will delete only the duplicate. So whichever file you bring into the recycling bin and then delete, it will remove. And yes, that's another reason why it's good to delete things, because sometimes you'll forget you downloaded something and re-download it. I had that happen with CDs, where I didn't think I put a CD on my computer and re-put it on there like 3 different times. So the nice thing is this, if you just hit your second box here where it says all, if you click on that, and I'm going to go back in here and go into preferences, and this time go back to the WAF. I'm just going to do PES only. But that way, if I do have duplicates, I can scroll through and look. So that's another way.
Could you just briefly say it again? You just click everything that you don't want, and then what do you do?
So that's only if you want to delete it. You'll click everything you don't want. So for an example, I'm going to just go in here and I'm going to click only these C2S files. I don't actually know if I do have some. So I can go through and remove these files. Now, a lot of these I think are Floriani because this was an old Floriani file type. So I may want to leave those for the time being. I'm going to click sew. I know I don't need any sew files. And I can go through and delete each file type. Give my computer a moment here to catch up. But this is if you wanted to remove things you don't need. Like these are the files that are showing here are sew files for the freestanding lace pirate ship that OESD does. Or actually this might be the haunted house.
Haunted house.
Yeah, this one looks like the haunted house.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of them. So there's a new freestanding lace rocking horse, by the way, that's very cute.
Oh.
Yep.
So you take that each one of those to the recycle bin?
I actually will hold down Shift and take a small section of them and hold it down and bring them over to the recycling bin.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, and then I can go into the recycling bin and then delete them. It's a kind of a two-step process, but they really want to make sure you want to delete them before you do. And I find that you can't select everything in the recycling bin. It overloads the program, so I usually do a couple rows, like 2 rows, and delete them from the disk. There we go. And now those are gone.
Kelsey, can you make the viewing area bigger?
No, it depends on the size of your computer. I cannot see if I hover my mouse over this, I cannot change that, unfortunately. It's one of the complaints about the program that I've heard. They may come out with an update in the future, who knows? It really depends on your computer settings. So you can actually set like different views through your display settings on your computer, depending on what type of computer you have. All right, so I'm going to go back in here and I'm going to click just my PES files and I'm going to show you guys how to sort these into categories. So what's really nice about this program is that you can take files and add keywords. You can also sort them into little categories. Oh, did I have a question?
No, my screen showed Zoom. Oh, there it goes again. Want to use Zoom. Zoom just get, well, now it'll flip back.
Yeah, my program keeps freezing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I have only 85,000 some odd files that I haven't finished sorting. And so it's overloading the computer a little bit. So you guys may see some crazy stuff as it's trying to load more and more designs.
Excuse me, I have a question, Chelsea.
Yeah.
It's Mary. On my screen, I don't have any pictures with my designs.
So probably because you don't have anything selected. So in your bottom area, you'll probably see something that says all or pending.
Yeah.
If you click on the pending, it should show all of the designs that you have pending in your watch folders.
It doesn't show any pictures at all. It just shows the numbers of the designs. No pictures.
Okay. On the bottom, on the top of it, does it say display image, display designs? Are those checked off?
The top where?
See where my mouse is? Can you see my screen?
Uh-huh.
There's
Yeah.
one that says display designs, that's checked off. And
That's checked.
okay, we don't need display image.
And display artwork and display image, all 3 are checked.
Okay. And it's not showing you, it shows the file name, or you say it just shows numbers?
It shows numbers like 004.vp3.
Okay. Can you go into, because what machine do you have? You have a,
I have a baby lock.
yeah, so go into your preferences and go into input and just click off PES, Because it also
Okay.
might be that some of the file types, like sometimes DST and some of those file types read weird.
Preferences is where?
Under tools,
Okay. Thanks, everybody. I'm sorry.
All right. When you ask a question, we all learn.
Preferences.
yep, and then just make sure just the PES is checked off.
Tools, preferences, and then general
Input
options,
formats.
formats.
Yeah, it should be input formats.
Okay.
And just click off PES.
Done. All right.
Yeah, and then that should just show your PES files, which may make it easier. Yeah, I find that sometimes images or artwork, if it's for a different file format or if it's a commercial format, they show off kind of weird.
Okay.
So, all right, so let's talk about sorting. So what I can do with these, I'm going to give this Hawaiian Hearts one as an example. And I'm going to see if I can move my Zoom box over again. So when I click on a design, it opens up this little settings box below. It tells me where the file is located, tells me the size, how many stitches, what color changes, and on the right here, what colors are involved. The nice thing about this is I can edit keywords. So I can hit edit keywords and I can type in heart, quilt. I know this one is from Sweet Pea, so I can always, I always write sweat pea for some reason the first time, which is really gross when you think about it. And I can add these in with commas just like this. It doesn't matter if it's capital or lowercase, it does not matter. So I can hit OK, and now this has keywords. The reason why this is important is because if I go up to keyword and I type in heart, it's going to bring up everything that I added that keyword to. So this is the most time-consuming part of this program, is adding the keywords. Unfortunately, you can't add the same keywords to a whole group of things. You have to do each one individually. So usually what I tell people is, put on a good show and just sit there and, during the commercials or while you're watching the show, right-click on the design and add keywords. And then yep.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to interrupt. Everything is good. It's good. It worked.
Okay, good. So what I usually do is I'll add the keywords to the design, and then I'm going to left-click on it and drag it into a category. Categories are the other way this program will file things. So this little box on your bottom left-hand side, if you hit the little plus button next to embroidery, there's all sorts of category options. So this one's quilting. I'm going to save this under quilting. So after I add keywords, I'm going to left-click and drag it into quilting. And then I would do the same thing with the next one. Edit keywords, and I can put heart, quilt, and then sweet pea. And keep doing this. And slowly, you will move through and get all of your items sorted. So that way when you, go ahead.
I have a question. If you did that one, the one heart, and then the next 2 or 3 hearts were very similar to that, and you just drag them into your quilting, when you pulled up hearts or sweet or peas, wouldn't all of them come up?
No.
Even if it didn't, oh, they have to have that name.
Yeah, you have to have the keywords. If I clicked on the category though, they'd all be there.
Then they'd all be there. So if you had a mental note to yourself that you're doing just one of them and you found a heart there, then you could maybe go back to the quilting and say, oh, well, that heart is in quilting, so I have a whole bunch of them.
So let me go back into my all. So the problem is if I click on these though, it doesn't tell me, if I bring up the keyword, it doesn't tell me where it's located as a category inside album. It only tells you where that is stored on your computer. So it won't let me know that, oh, there's a bunch of these stored in quilting. So I would really make it an effort to add in those keywords for everything.
Okay.
Oh, I still have heart on there. Let me remove that. So it's a little bit of a two-step program. I use the categories just as a way to say that this is a set file, or like alphabets. I didn't label any of these because they're alphabets. I don't really need to add keywords because I'm just going to click on alphabets. All my fonts are going to go in here. But when it comes to like other things like this, I can only put it in one category. So I'm going to go back to pending. So if I look up hearts on here, I don't think I have a heart. I mean, I have a heart, but I mean, I don't think the program has a heart section. I paused at a weird place there. So I can't put this into heart, but I can only put it into one category too. So I can't take this and put it into, I don't know, home decor and quilting. I can only put it into one
Could put it
category.
into Valentine's Day or Valentine holiday under Valentine's Day.
Yeah, so, and this one, I don't remember which ones I added, but you can add your own categories too. So if you
Right.
right click on embroidery, you can hit add category, and I could add in Valentine's. And now I have Valentine's. I could add in Thanksgiving or Halloween. So, you know, these ones are ones that you can add in. So you just, again, right click on embroidery and you can add a category. You can also right click on, let's say, borders and add a subcategory, and under there do corners. Oh, apparently corners already exists. Oh yeah, it does. Look at that. So guess not on that one, but I could add a subcategory as well. So let's say I have the holidays and I want to take Valentine's. I can actually drag it up to holidays and have it be a subcategory of holidays.
Mhm.
Just like I think Christmas has its own, Christmas is still a holiday. I still want to put that under holidays. So you can move these around and create your own categories. I find that the keywords are going to be a lot easier for you. Or for me, I'm lazy. I never label anything. I just kind of look until I find something I want. But you know, it's a little bit of an easier way to add the categories. So I'm going to go back up to pending, and I'm going to show you guys a little bit more about this program. So this one, see, I actually added keywords. I have Jacobine in there. So let's say I want to maybe edit this. There's a couple different ways I can do this. If I double click on it, oops, this one just opens this up. That's not what I want. I can right click and I can hit edit design. This is what I'm going to show you first because this edits it right in album. And this brings up a very basic, can you guys see that? Did it change the
Yep.
screen on you? It did? Okay, good. Sometimes with the screen share, it won't change things. It'll just keep on the same one. So this shows the design. If you have Floriani FTCU, think of this as a very, very basic version. I can do a color sort. I can rotate, change size, do very minimal options. One of the biggest cool thing about this program, if you don't have any other editing programs, is you can do a split wizard. So if you are doing a gigantic design, you can do a split wizard right from here. This is tiny, so it's not going to actually show us anything. But I can take this design, if it was, you know, a 10 by 10 and I only had a 5 by 7 hoop, and split it into 4 different sections. And then it would actually give me a PDF that I could print with pictures of those, so that way I can lay out my design really nice as a template. So the split wizard is really important. Also under tools is your batch converter. So let's say you used to have a Viking, and that's okay, we won't hold it against you. And you decided to switch to Brother or Baby Lock, but you still had a ton of those old Viking designs, and all you had were the, you know, dot husk, and you want to turn those into PES files. I can click batch converter, click my source folder, which we're just going to choose crown. We'll do that one. And I can say save in source folder, which means I don't need to choose another folder. I can include subdirectories, which means if it was one big folder that had lots of little folders in it, it will save those same folders and save everything in there. I can also overwrite existing files, so if I never want to see those husk files again. I don't suggest doing that just in case something goes wrong, but I can click on here and say, all right, I want all of my, where is Huss? We'll just do this Viking, this VIP. I want all of those VIPs to be Baby Lock version 9. And I hit convert, and it converted. Now, there's nothing that's actually in there of that file type, which is why it says nothing has changed. Usually you'll have a little green thumbs up that'll come up with the file name, or a red button if it didn't work. Sometimes it doesn't work and you need to try again, or there's something wrong with the actual file, but it's very rare that it doesn't work.
So all that has to be done in the editing. That batch conversion has to be done within editing.
Yes, yeah. Yep, that's right here. And if you have FTCU, there's also a batch converter as well, right underneath your tools button. Same thing.
Chelsea,
Yes.
I discovered, and I talked to Floriani about it, if you try to convert, if I have times when I want to have a JPEG that I want to send to somebody so they can see what I'm doing.
Yep.
And it does not convert to a JPEG. It's a bug in the program.
It does not.
Even
And I
though it
had that
says it's
problem.
there.
I actually had that problem today. I sell some designs on Etsy that I've created. And I did like a big rib set and like bones that you can put on a shirt so you can make a skeleton costume for a kid for the Scan and Cut. It's an SVG file. The lady couldn't get the SVG to open up on her silhouette. And so she asked me to send her a JPEG. I thought, oh, I could just do a batch converter. Did not work. However, I can still go File, Save As, and save this as a JPEG in not this program. I can do that in Floriani. Apparently it's not going to let me do that here. But in Floriani FTCU, you can just hit File, Save As, and save it as a JPEG that way.
That doesn't always work. I have tried that too. It's something that works sometimes and not others.
Okay.
So just know that
The
you
other
can
thing you can do is if you hit print, hit your print button and print it to a PDF. And that's usually what I do if it's giving me image issues with printing. All right, Marianne, you have your hand raised.
So I have a question about the batch converter. Does it make a copy of the existing file and convert it to the new format, or does it convert the existing file to the new format and you lose the old format?
So that overwrite existing files button that I was telling you about, if you check that off, it will delete the old files and convert it completely.
Okay.
If you leave it unchecked, it will copy it and convert the new
Okay.
copy.
Thank you.
So yeah, I usually like to have a copy just in case, and then I can go back if it worked and remove it. You can also do rotate to fit maximum hoop. I don't usually like to mess with that, but that button is more if you have, let's say, a regular machine versus a 10 needle where the hoop kind of, what do you call it, placement is either landscape or portrait, and so it may change that direction. But I usually just don't bother because usually the machine's pretty smart and goes, oh, hey, this doesn't work this way. Let's move it this way.
Chelsea, how did you get to batch converter again?
Under Tools on the Edit. So if you are on your Edit screen, you hit Tools and Batch Converter.
How do you get to the edit screen?
Let me.
Oh, I got it.
Yeah.
I got it. Then you go to edit. Under edit, I have select all.
No, I mean, if you see like a big design like this where you could make edits to it, then you're on the edit part of album. So you just want to go under Tools.
You go to get to the edit part, you go to what?
Oh, all right. So do you see a screen that looks like mine, or do you
No.
see the previous screen?
Can you go back?
So let me go back. Give me a second. Do you guys see the regular My Design album now on my screen?
Yeah. Yes.
So you're gonna find your design, whichever one you want to edit. Make sure you left click it first, then right click it and hit Edit Design.
Oh, I got it.
Yep.
And then
then
you get
Tools.
batch converter under tools. I got it. Thank you.
Now, some of the other things this program does, I can do on the left-hand side a 3D view or regular stitch view. I can also fit it to a hoop. So this little button that looks like a hoop with an arrow, I can select my hoop size. For example, it's set to a 8x12 at the moment, that's fine. And then I can take my design and actually click this red one and it will fit it to the hoop size. So it'll actually make my design quite large and fit it to that hoop perfectly. So if you have a design you want to fit to, 5x7 or 4x4, I can even set this to a smaller hoop size. Ooh, that's too small. Here we go. Here's a 4x4, and I can take this and make it fit a 4x4 hoop. So I can do quite a bit of editing in this small program here. If you have Floriani FTCU, however, I'm gonna switch back over to regular album. then you can actually, whoa,
Chelsea, does it adjust the stitch density automatically?
I don't remember. Let me check. All right, so we have 10,000 stitches. 10,000 stitches. No, it does not.
What was the question?
Does it change the stitch density? So it does not in this case. The editing program in this is limited and does not change the stitch density, which means you'll still have, yeah, you'll still have as many stitches in the same amount of area on this design as if it was larger or smaller. So I would not change it that much if you're going to change size.
Doesn't the same hold true for using select or fit hoop in FTCU?
No.
Mine
FTCU,
does.
it shouldn't. I think there is a button. Let me open this in Floriani. So you can right click on your designs and you can open them up in Floriani as well. So I'm gonna just check in Floriani really quick to see about the stitch. I think there is a button that you have to click to make it change the stitch density. Just give my computer like 20 minutes here to actually open up Floriani. So you can also right click and open this with multiple other programs if you have it. So that's what's nice about this program is I can click on one of these and open it up with Floriani. If I had MDQ, I could open it up there. I can also rename the design. So sometimes I'll rename them if they're random letters or numbers. You know, if it's 1567.pes, I might rename it, you know, flower applique.pes. All right, let me just check really quick on this with a fit to hoop.
Oh, we don't see this.
I know. So I'm not going to do a screen share because it doesn't matter too much. I just
Okay.
want to double check. Okay, so yeah, it did not do a fit to hoop. It did not change the stitch density on fit to hoop.
I think maybe
So,
if you go up to the other, you know, when you right click it and you go up to changing it on the upper right hand side, I forgot, I'm lost for words today. You know, when you make it smaller and larger, it will change the density.
yeah, if you actually change it manually, it will change the stitch density. But that's interesting that the fit to hoop doesn't. You think it would, or you'd have an option.
Yeah.
Or mine is just not changing the density at all at the moment. If I remember right, it's a setting through the preferences. Color match, I just got to remember where it is. I don't know, it's not giving me an option. I'll have to check in on that because I know it used to, but I just had to reinstall the programs on my new computer, so I am not sure why Floriani is not doing a stitch resizing. But that is a good question. So just be aware, usually I just look at the stitch number in the top and see if it's changed that. If you have a Baby Locker Brother, you can actually do a stitch recalculation if you have a one of the bigger machines and resize in there as well. So if you have it open and you click your size button, there's a little ziggy-zag button you can click that will do a stitch recalculation right in there. And that'll allow you to make it 200 times larger or up to 60% smaller. So you can also do it right in your machine. Okay, so showed you guys editing. One thing that I find a slight annoyance in this program, and I'm sad that you can't do, is I can't just take this. If you guys had ever used Studio 3 in the past, you can't just take this right click and send to a USB. And if you took this here, and let's say you had a USB plugged in and you just left clicked and dragged it into a USB on your screen up here, it actually will move it out of the folder it lives in and into your USB only. So that's something I wanted to warn you guys. Never left click and drag this into anything on your folders up top. It will permanently move it. Your folders down below, however, will not permanently move it. So to get this to be on a USB, I just look where the folder is. So this is on, you know, here, let's do this one. This one is Design Files Imaginary Day. And then I'll open up my regular File Explorer find that design, right click and send to USB that way. Or I can right click and hit edit design and click file, save as, and save it to my USB there. So that is the only thing that I find to be a slight annoyance about this program, because I came as well from Design Album or Studio 3, which had that right click send to, technically it was send to floppy was the button, which that shows you how updated that program was before they discontinued it. But it was still nice to use. Some of the other things you can do up here is you can even search file name. You can search for a certain design format, which means your file type. You can also click display designs, display artwork, which then it'll show me SVG files, as you can see, or display image, which will show you if you have JPEGs or PNGs or anything like that checked off. I usually don't like to leave these on, sometimes SVGs, but you know, usually I don't need to see my SVGs. Usually it's just the embroidery designs. Excuse me. All right, so I kind of did a brief overview of most of those things. I'm trying to think of what I have not touched upon.
So what were in the new updates? What was the new update in this program?
The update that was over a year ago?
Oh, I thought you said there was a new update recently.
No, there was one last year. Actually, it wasn't over, I guess. It was early October of last year, so I guess about a year ago at this point, but I have no idea.
Oh, okay. So there's nothing new, you know.
No, not really. Oh, that's what I got to show you guys.
Oh, how do you save them? How do you save them so that you don't
Yes.
lose?
So that's the next thing I just realized I didn't tell you guys. So under your tools as well, you can create a backup. So I'm going to hit tools, create backup, and I'm going to save this, I don't know, on my desktop. And I can save it, usually I do it by date, so I'll do 10/01/2020, and you know, just save it. And then that will save what you've done so far. What you can do too is you can then create a full, there's create a full backup or create a backup. A full backup does everything, where a backup is just pretty much what you've done since the last time. You could create, I'm gonna name this again. So a full as you see, creating a full backup takes a little bit longer. And there we go. So it's going to create a full backup of everything in the program. I think it even backs up your designs that you have checked off. So everything that it can read under your watch folders, it will back up. I failed to do so with my last computer. And of course, now I'm just going to cancel this because it takes a while.
Where does it put it? Where does
So
it put it?
wherever you tell it to go, like I put it on my desktop, but you can put that backup into a USB, in your documents, in your downloads. You can create a special folder on your desktop that says, you know, album backups. If you are to back up this program, I would not just save it on your computer. I would also save it onto an external hard drive of some type. They are not that expensive through Amazon. But, you know, make sure you have that backup saved in a backup device. So that way, if something does happen to your computer, you know, who knows, it's 2020, anything can happen this year. So, you know, definitely back it up.
And it backs it up in the exact same way that you organized it.
Yes. And
Just
then once
so you know, if you back it up, if you cannot put the files like the embroidery and the pending and all that, you can't have that material on another, I don't know, like on a USB and use it. It has to be local to your C drive.
Yes, yeah, so you can see designs that are on your USBs, but you cannot sort them because once you remove that USB, it clears them out. And when you plug it back in, it will not put them back into your categories.
Well, I use, my designs are on a network drive. And I cannot save, I can't use the bottom half of the program because it saves to my C drive, which defeats my whole purpose.
Yes, yes. So you have to have them on your actual local drive to do that categorizing and keywords and all that stuff. So I mean, in that case, then you could just use the program at least to view the files. When you do create a backup, when you're done, then you can just restore your full backup. When you have a new computer, or maybe you accidentally deleted everything, you can just hit restore full backup or restore backup, depending which version you're using. Again, restore full backup, and the full backup versions save everything, including your files, where a regular backup just saves your organization. There's help. You can also go to support if you need. There is a manual. You can also hit F1 to access that. It's just like any other manual where it hurts to read, but you know, it's still, it's actually pretty good. But it goes into pretty much everything that we talked about. So everything is there, and you can click. So if you ever need help and it's, you know, 3 in the morning, obviously you can't really call a store, but you can always go into the manual and see if you can find it there. Or go into the support. There is also a Floriani forum that might be helpful. Marianne, you have your hand raised.
Is there any of this functionality within FTCU?
You mean like the sorting and stuff like that?
Yeah.
No, it's a completely separate, different program.
Okay.
The only thing that you would have on Floriani that this has is that edit design, and that's it. So okay. I suggest having this program, even if you have FTCU, because then you can at least, you know, I can go in here and say, all right, I want to know what, I don't know, autumn wind is. What's autumn wind? Oh, that's what that looks like. Or what's in this bookmark lace folder?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it has a subfolder, so I have to click on it. And I can actually see what that is. I can click on my Baby Lock Tech, see what's in there. Oh yeah, that's right. That was that class that I totally missed, so she sent me the designs. So, you know, these are all ways that I can look at these. Let's get
Well, I
this.
can see this would be very useful if you have files from like years ago that you're looking to get from floppy disks onto an old laptop that has a USB, and then you put all that work into it, and this would be a very good program to save those files. So I can see the benefit. Yeah. Yeah,
it helps you. There's a lot of things this program does. I mean, the biggest perk for me personally is just being able to see my files. I like being able to see them. Like, you know, these are some really cool, I'm clicking all the wrong things, files that, you know, are for embroidering on costumes, and I can click on them and see, you know, okay, these are different parts, and they all go together to cover the bottom of a full dress. You know, so I can see them on here and see what they look like. And I can double click on this if I want to see it a little larger here, give me some details. But, you know, a lot of these files have weird file names, and you're not going to sit there and rename them all. And even if you rename it, you know, Jacobine flower, that doesn't tell me that what it looks like. So I just use this mostly to see. I am very lazy, and I don't usually add keywords or anything like that. I probably should, you know, kind of get off my butt and actually do some of this. But, you know, this is all based on what you guys prefer. If you want to only just have categories, fine. If you want to just apply keywords, fine. This program works however you need it to work for you. All right, so I think I've gone through everything that needs to go through, so I'm going to stop our recording. I'm going to stop sharing and stop our recording.